What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Quadcast, the show where we get real, get raw, and get loud about mental health, substance use, and the fight to take our lives back.
Each episode, we're cutting through the stigma, dropping knowledge, sharing stories, and bringing the heat with guests who have lived it and aren't afraid to talk about it.
So turn it up, lock in, and let's break barriers, spark change, and build a community that refuses to stay silent. You're tuned into the Quadcast, and let's get into it.
You can find us on Patreon, Facebook, Instagram, or email us. The Quadcast is always looking for new guests, whether you're individuals that have experienced it, you're in law enforcement, treatment programs, nurses, doctors, or anyone that just has something to say. Come share your story with us on mental health or substance abuse.
Warning, there's cussing in this video. If you don't like swear words, well, you're
watching the wrong damn show.
All right. On today's episode, we're here with Casey Bradberry. Casey is a Marine Corps veteran, father, husband, and has been struggling with mental health issues and some substance abuse issues across a wide field for several years now. And we're going to sit down and dig into it with him. Casey, thanks for joining us this evening. If you kind of want to introduce yourself and give us a little bit of background, take it away.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. So, my name's Casey Bradberry. I left for the Marine Corps in 2011. Got out in 2014. I was medically separated. I met my wife while I was in the Corps, had children when I was in the Corps, got out, moved my family back home, started doing a little bit of construction work. Body fell apart, mental health fell apart, lost a job, a very good job. Went back into to where basically I didn't want to do anything. And from there, I kind of stumbled upon selling cars out of all things. And here I am now. I've been selling cars for about 2 years, just took an excellent job and packed my whole family up and moved away just for that job. And I'm enjoying selling cars and family's blessed now.
Casey, would you say that your mental health journey has led you to where you are today to try and make things better for your mental health standpoint?
Absolutely. I mean, it's every day is a struggle. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to fib to you. You know, I wake up every morning. I do the same routine Monday through Sunday. I take my medication every morning for mental health. And like I said, every day it's there. Every day it's a struggle. Every day it's a battle. You just got to be willing to try to come up with solutions, have people in the background to help you, to support you. But like I said, it's always there. It's something that I don't know if it'll ever go away. I hope it does. But if it's not, it is what it is. I think now that I've dealt with it, let's see, 6 to 7 years, it was a struggle. And from that point to now, I've learned multiple ways to overcome it at times.
So, in your words, and to you personally, what does mental health mean to you?
Kind of tough one because, you know, I've seen mental health growing up for certain individuals, that fought through it or did not make it through it. And so then for me, when it kind of hit me, it was like, oh crap, this can happen to anybody. And kind of always thought that I was a pretty strong person. But like I said, it hit me hard. and it's a very serious thing. It's not talked about enough, which I kudos to you, doing this podcast and trying to bring out the awareness of it. Definitely, too, as we know, November is Mental Health Awareness Month. But it's definitely something that needs to be talked more about, as definitely nowadays a lot more people are struggling with it. And the more people that are open about it, hopefully they can get the help that they need. Because without the help, you're just not going to, you cannot make it without support and help. You just can't.
And that, going back to what you said about, me doing this podcast and, putting the information out there and kind of spreading the awareness about it. I think one of the biggest things about it is, it's not about me doing this and spreading the awareness, but it's more of being in, trying to help people become more in touch with their personal outlook about their mental health or substance abuse issues along the way, because there's so much that we go through life hiding all the time or suppressing away from what other people can see, that I think it hinders us and makes us look at ourselves differently, more so than just facing it head on and actually just uh, accepting it and living it and moving through it. Um,
Oh,
I,
100%.
I think I think that's the biggest thing, really, that I've come to learn, because you know, and you said it yourself that we all deal with mental health to a certain extent, and everybody deals with it differently. But being able to face it head on and just accept that that is a part of our lives is one of the coping mechanisms, at least that I have found, that is better off than some.
100%. 100% agree with you on that.
So, how has your understanding of mental health changed over time from the beginning of your experience until now?
Well, for me, we will go back quite a bit of years, but for me, growing up, mental health didn't exist with my family. It didn't exist. It wasn't something that was talked about. Wasn't something that I even knew about, because of my dad, or in my family's eyes, definitely my dad. My dad being a very strong mentally and physical person, mental health, like I said, just it didn't exist. So for me, I didn't know that it was there. And from then to learning about it and basically dealing with it with myself, it hit me very hard, because, like I said, to me, having mental health issues, PTSD, I went from being happy go lucky to being, oh crap, what the hell is going on with me? At the same time of thinking that I wasn't as proper as a man as I was supposed to be in my father's eyes, being that mental health to him growing up didn't exist. So having it made it 10 times as worse. At least that's what it seemed like for me. So from there to now, like I said, now I know that there's ways to cope with it. I have a lovely wife and kids that support me 100%. Um, Now it's easier to cope, easier to understand it, if that makes sense. And I
Sure.
think that's a big part of it too, is accepting it and grasping why it's there, or understanding why it is there.
I could agree with that. So, what are some common misconceptions that you think people still have about mental health? From your point of view, what do you think people have a hard time understanding about it?
A, a lot of people, which is going to sound crazy because, I mean, technically, mental health realistically is in your head. But people do have a hard understanding and not understanding of what it is because and they're thinking that, hey, you know what, it's in your head, mind over matter, you know, fix it, that don't think about it and it doesn't exist. So I don't think a lot of people actually understand what it feels like to have it, to actually deal with it, to understand it. That people that do struggle with mental health to others that do not, we seem like we are weaker individuals. I guess I could say. Um, yeah, I mean that would be my big thing is that I just don't think that the people that don't deal with it. I think that at the end of the day, they just think that it really and truly doesn't exist.
Uh, I can agree with that. I think the biggest thing that a lot of people don't understand is how many different ways that mental health can affect somebody, especially when you get into the avenue of substance use along with that. I think there's a lot of misconceptions to mental health and substance abuse are that coincide with each other.
Absolutely, I mean, 100%. Because I mean, like I said, I deal with it every day. But also, when you're talking about substance abuse, every day I drink. I, I'm not. I wouldn't like to say that. Hey, I'm an alcoholic because I don't think that I am. But every day I drink. I don't drink to get drunk, but I do drink to mellow myself out.
Sure, there you and that's finding that outlet that helps you with that type of stressor in your life. So, and you just kind of answered this from one aspect, but what are some of the ways that you maintain your mental health on a daily basis besides drinking every day?
For me, like now, I work 6 days a week from typically from 8 to 8 every day for 6 days. I'm off on Sundays, and it's because the dealership's closed on Sundays. And I do a lot of that because it keeps me busy. It keeps me my
Hmm.
brain occupied, my brain busy. So as long as I'm not sitting around, is my big thing to keep me in check. Which is kind of funny too and ironic because my passion, like my go-to hobby, is fishing. And I do a lot of fishing. I do a lot of setting while I fish. I'll sit down. Of course, I'm going to have a beer in my hand. I'm sitting there and I'm fishing. It's quiet. It's to myself. You would think that that hobby, being quiet and sitting still, would make me think about it, but it never does. I don't know. It's like a very good outlet for myself.
Hmm.
And then lately, keeping myself busy when I get home, like I said, typically I get off at 8. It's about a 35-minute drive. I get home, and lately, for the probably the last, I don't know, 3 weeks, man, my youngest son, we've been playing on the Switch 2, been playing Luigi's Haunted Mansion. So it's been keeping me occupied and busy before bedtime.
So your brain works a lot like mine, and staying busy, the busier you are, the better things generally run. And I mean, if I'm not constantly, like, I was sitting there today and I was like, man, I have so much to get done. But then I was thinking about what all I needed to get done. And I'm like, man, I can only think of like three things that I need to get done. And two of them don't even need to be done today. But yet I was still thinking that I had so many things to do that I guess I just kind of faked myself out into thinking that I was busier than what I was so that I would just keep myself motivated.
But see, I do that too because it's bad and it's weird. It's like if I sit down on the couch, I don't want to do nothing. I don't want to get up. period, at all, whatsoever. So that's one reason why I try to keep myself busy. Because if I sit down,
It's over.
the ball game's over. I'm either going to fall asleep, or my brain runs 100 miles an hour, and I can tell myself I need to get up to get occupied, but I'm not going to.
Yeah. So this cold weather, I mean, that's kind of my daily mental battle myself, is just actually getting motivated to get started. Once I get started, I'm good.
Yeah,
But
absolutely,
it's the whole
100%.
getting started.
It's that foot up my ass to get me up, to make me do something.
And you got two of those. It's called your wife.
Oh, that's a fact.
That was funny because you told me yesterday, you were like, or day before yesterday, you were like, text Paige and have her write that up for me. I texted her and told her that, you told her that she needed to quit being lazy and do that for you. And she was like, if he only knew.
Oh yeah, that's what I hear all the time. I only knew what she was doing.
Yeah, you should probably write that resume for yourself.
Yeah, okay. Well,
I had to.
I started it, but see, that's another bad habit of mine. I start something, but I'll put it on pause and say, "Oh, I'll get back to it," and then hell, I just never touch it.
Yeah. Well, I had to hear about the resume yesterday or the day before and how you wouldn't do it yourself.
I started it.
It's the whole finishing, Casey.
Well, she's smarter than me, and she knows how to put things in words better than I do.
My dog's smarter, Casey.
Hey, hey, hey.
I'll have to edit that out. Somebody will get on to me for bullying.
Oh, yeah, it's a fact.
While I have to edit this out, every 30 minutes we're going to take just a short pause so I can cut these videos up a little bit.
Okay.
It's easier for me to find it when I take a break from yakking. Um, so, what's the most important thing you've learned about your own mental wellness journey?
The ones that have stuck around and stayed around and supported that to me, that has been my biggest like eye opener. Like who actually cares? And for me, for mental health, for my journey, is realizing who actually gives a damn and who doesn't. Family, friends, it doesn't matter.
It's very defining of the person you are and the people that you have around you.
Oh, 100%.
I can relate to that too, and I think that's another big part of what a lot of other people will be able to relate to along with this. But the people that haven't went through all of it may not understand that yet. But at some point throughout your family lifestyle, you will deal with that in one way or another.
Yeah, 100%. 'Cause like I said, I mean, some family looks at it like it's a joke. Then some family, don't get me wrong, it may be my fault because at times I'm not the easiest person to get along or be with. So, I'm a very transparent, open book, and I'll hurt your feelings in a heartbeat, not meaning to. And people don't like that.
That's just your glowing personality.
Absolutely.
Can you share a time that you realized you needed to prioritize your mental health? I know, me knowing you personally, we could pick that apart for a couple hours probably, but
Yeah,
can you define one time that you seriously knew that you needed to prioritize it?
absolutely. I can name it like it was yesterday.
Was it yesterday?
Nope. I can name it like it was yesterday though. 2021, October 31st, Halloween Day.
Mm.
Yes, sir. I was we'll get all into it, but I mean, that was my legitimate, full breakdown, oh shit moment. I don't want to be here no more. And I called my wife, got her home from work, talked to her. You know, we took myself over to the VA, and that's when I said, okay, right now I legit have an issue, and my mental health has got to come first. I got to get the help that I need.
Would you say that being able to pinpoint your final straw was an eye-opening experience for yourself?
Oh, 100%. So I mean, I like to look at myself as a manly man, and that day, from the moment I woke up and until hell, after enough drugs from the VA that put me to sleep, I couldn't tell you the last time I cried, and I cried like a damn baby. I mean, really and truly. So to me, it was like, okay, I can't do this, and I can't do this in front of my wife. I can't do this in front of my kids. I got to have help. So that for me was just that was it.
What strategies or supports helped you the most during that difficult period?
That, literally, I mean, and it's people say it all the time. And I mean, for me, dealing with it and actually like, dealt with it. No shit. My wife and my kids is what allowed me to deal with it, to strive to get better, strive to seek help, talk about it for them. It was. I mean, it. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it was for myself to get better, but it was the fact that if I didn't get help, I wouldn't be here today, and I couldn't have done that to my kids and my wife.
I think, me personally, I went through a time that like that of, super dark time and thinking about the end of times. And I think, the biggest thing that snapped me out of it was Ava,
Look,
thinking about her and thinking about what everybody else would do in that instance. Maybe I wouldn't be suffering with it, but who's going to suffer with it afterwards?
oh yeah, and that's kind of what I thought. And and I looked at the whole picture. I looked at it as okay. I have a daughter and two boys. Okay, so now my two sons are going to grow up without a daddy.
Right.
Okay, you know how shitty is that? Who's going to teach them to do the right things? Who's going to teach them how to be a man? Who's going to teach them how to be a father? Who's going to teach them how to be a husband? And definitely teach them how to be a father because at that point, they would they their father would have been the weak one if that makes sense. So
Sure.
it it would have set a bad example. I mean, overall. And so I kept replaying that in my head. Who's going to teach my boys how to be a man? Who's going to teach my boys how to treat a woman? Who's going to teach my kids how to change a tire and change oil, teach them how to drive? And my head, I love my wife dearly, been married almost 14 years. I would hope that
Shoo,
something
I feel
happened,
bad for Paige.
right? But I look at it as if something bad happened to me, I hope that she would be able to move on and not. I would hope that she would be able to find somebody. But
You've done ruined her.
yeah, but I wouldn't want another man teaching my boys how to be
Right.
a man.
And I mean that's the male urge in you, though. That's the male way of thinking. Like, those are your kids, and you wouldn't want somebody. Yes, you would want them to have a role model in their life. And yes, you would want somebody to step into that role. But then again, you don't, because that's your role.
Well, absolutely, and and I wouldn't want them to have somebody to fill my spot, all because I wouldn't get the help that I needed.
Right.
It's obviously it's different. I go out in the morning to go to work. I get in a car wreck. I pass away. I die. What have you. Obviously, then it's a little different. But to be selfish in a moment's time without thinking of them and then thinking, okay, somebody else can do this and this and this that I should be doing, but instead I took a different route that I chose.
Right. No, I think that makes perfect sense. I mean, and the way you said it, one way, it depends on how you look at it, obviously, but something that you can't control happening is way different than being able to make your decision to go through with changing your life or just not making that decision, period, and then something happening. Um, and it's all in what you can live with. I mean,
100%.
I couldn't live with it knowing that I couldn't make that decision for my kids or my family of not wanting to change what I was going through or what I was dealing with.
Yeah, 100%.
It would that would be hard. That would be a hard standpoint to sit with. How do you handle stigma or misunderstanding from others about regarding mental health?
Honestly, I'm one of those people. When I first started dealing with it, I would be the one that would get pissed off at you. Okay.
Yeah, we know.
Exactly, and I would show my ass, what have you. I mean, as you know, I was that guy. Hell, you looked at me the wrong way, I'd want to punch you in the mouth. Now,
And and just speaking from a personal side, you I I remember when there was a point in time that you didn't want help.
absolutely.
You fought it on your own, and at a certain point, people looking from the outside have to let you do that to a certain point,
Yeah.
because that's the only way that you're ever going to come to the realization that there is a problem.
Well, as you know, I mean, and it goes with substance abuse. That goes with mental health. That goes with just about anything in this world. That people can push you to and push you and push you to do stuff. They can send you to. You can be sent to rehab 100 times. But until you openly admit that you have a problem and you want to seek your own help, that's the only time that you're going to get the help that you actually want and need.
Absolutely, because at the end of the day, you're the one that has to put in the work to go through the steps. It's not whoever's putting you there, whoever wants you to receive help. It's you.
Oh, absolutely. So now I look at it as, hey, you know what? I will educate you as much as possible. And if you don't understand it, you don't get it, you don't grasp it, you still think that it's in my head, I could care less. And I've learned that as well, is that now I don't give two shits what anybody thinks at all. I just don't. So if you understand it, great. I'm happy you understand it for yourself or your family, because I guarantee somebody in your family is dealing with a similar issue, because it's just
Sure.
it's there. But if you don't understand it, hey, it is what it is. I just hope that one day that you learn to understand it, and I hope one day, or I hope that you never have to physically deal with it.
I agree with that for sure. What is one thing that you wish people knew about living with anxiety, depression, or PTSD?
Hmm. I don't know. I really, I don't know on that one. I don't have a whole lot of say on that question.
I think it's a very broad aspect because there's so many different levels of anxiety, depression, and even PTSD anymore. And I'm not sure if I don't know if we're calling it PTSD now or PTS or what we call it, but along that same line. But everybody handles it differently. And I think, going back to the beginning when, you know, everybody handles things different and everybody experiences different things in a different severity. You know,
absolutely.
what I see today may not be to you what it is to me. You know what I mean?
Well, 100%. I mean, for me, I was diagnosed with PTSD, anxiety disorder, depression disorder, uh, fucking panic attack disorder, and hell, we could be having a conversation, and hell, I would freeze and stop breathing because I'd be having a panic attack, and my panic attack would last 45 fucking minutes.
Right.
And somebody else would look at that and be like, hey, just breathe. You're fine. You're okay. Well, no, it's different per person. It's different per experience, and each time is different itself.
How do you think society's view of mental health has evolved in recent years?
I think now more people are dealing with mental health than ever before. Uh, so I do believe now more people are trying to understand it, are trying to live with it or grasp it or live with somebody that is dealing with it now compared to before. And I'm not saying that it wasn't always a thing or it wasn't always there. Now, obviously, that we as people are just getting more diagnosed with it. But the world is hard. Life is hard. So there's always something out there that can easily create something going on, if that makes sense.
Mhm. It does. And it goes back to, again, everybody experiences
Yeah.
things differently and perceives it differently, that it affects everybody differently. And there's no one set standard guideline to uh, mental health or substance use or the driving factors that lead up to those. Um,
Oh,
and I
100%.
think that's the biggest thing, that I think where we get the biggest stigmas and misconceptions to it is such a broad topic, and there's so many things that can lead into it.
Right. And that's the thing too, like you just said, lead into it. You you don't know what can cause it. And I say that because, I've done some things, I've seen some things, uh, and a lot of things that I've seen are done. I know people that's done the same things, and they struggle with issues from those things, and those things never bothered me.
Right. And there's things that I've seen fire EMS law that I I don't have an issue with today,
Yep.
but there's also things that I could go out in public and see one thing that instantly makes me remember something about something else, um, or something on TV. It's such a broad category that there's no one true definition to all of it, and I think that's the most confusing part about this category of discussion and experience in our lives, that is so confusing. And I mean, honestly, the doctors don't even understand, I don't think, at this
No,
point.
hell no. And that's the thing, nobody fully understands it. Nobody fully grasps it because, like you just said, I mean, anything basically can trigger it. You can be having the best day of your life. You can be sitting down and not a single thing happening, and then bam, out of nowhere, something, whether you even realized it or not, something triggered it, and there you are.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of the Quadcast.
Remember, breaking stigma doesn't stop when the episode ends. We're building a movement, and you're a part of it. Stay strong, stay aware, and stay connected.
And this is the Quadcast, signing out.